Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Eli. I'm about to be presenting a very long document that I've been working on for the last 3 weeks. It's a 23-page document that pretty much sums up our internal process for doing SEO for Shopify e-commerce brands. This document is pretty much going to be like a single source of truth for our agency in terms of SEO for Shopify. And then what we're going to be doing is updating it consistently, adding more case studies, more field data, more reviews, more testimonials, more SOPs, and yeah, just having this document as the cornerstone of our agency. I'm going to be presenting it, and I think it's going to take more than 30 to 40 minutes to finish it. So if you're an e-commerce brand, this is going to be extremely valuable for you. This is everything from fulfillment to delivery to performance tracking to team structure. Everything is going to be inside this document. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any feedback on it, just drop it in the comments and I'll keep working on this document until it's perfect. Okay, so let's get a quick overview on what's inside this document. Keep in mind that this is going to change from month to month because I'm going to keep updating it. But yeah, as of today, April 5th, this wasn't included. So first, we're going to go over the search landscape, what's happening on Google, and how are we going to be adapting our SEO strategy to accommodate the changes, the new features, the things that Google keeps launching and updating on the search. So pretty much what I'm trying to say here is traditional SEO processes will not accommodate or do not accommodate fully how the SERPs or how Google is presenting information on the search. So I'm going to go over this stuff. And then after that, I'm going to be breaking down our internal process. How do we build a strategy? How do we execute the strategy by building pages that actually rank? How are we going to measure the performance of these pages? And from a data-driven perspective, how are we going to be building backlinks and making the most out of your resources? After that, I'm going to be sharing a few tactics that we use to beat like your industry giants like Amazon, Target, Macy's, or even your competitors that are miles ahead of you. And then, of course, I'm just going to be adding some proof from social proof, case studies, call to action, frequently asked questions about our agency, and if you want to work with us. Yeah, I just wanted to skim through it quickly because I know this thing is going to take a long time to go over. So yeah, I just want to get into the sauce. So first, the current landscape of Google. Now, I want to focus only on the keywords that make sense for you as an e-commerce brand. And these keywords are pretty much going to be the transactional or the keywords that have buying intent behind them. As you can see here, I did a research for short dresses, Gatsby shoes, face cream, and what used to be number one on Google, the first link, is pretty much now the number 6 position. So that tells you that the impact of a number 1 ranking on Google is not as strong as it used to be, because Google now is prioritizing UX and it's pretty much having its own knowledge panels, its own shopping results, ads, all of that stuff showcased above the organic links. Now, what that means is that one, SEO is not enough for it to have an impact and grow your business. It needs to be ran in parallel with Google ads. Yeah, pretty much like shopping ads. And then from that point onwards, you will use SEO as a supporting channel or as a channel where you would use that in tandem with Google Ads. So for e-commerce, SEO is not going to be the same as it used to be, especially in the very competitive niches, because Google knows what keywords will convert the best or have the most revenue attached to them, and then it's trying to take advantage of that. So if I'm going to sum it up, the number 1 organic link is effectively number 6. Strong schema and merchant feeds are very needed. Products showing up in the top position often have strong schema or are listed on the Google merchant feed. For the most profitable keywords, Google dominates the SERPs with its own listings. So the conclusion is traditional SERPs with 10 blue links no longer exists. To continue generating revenue from SEO, e-commerce brands needs to adapt their strategies. Now, observing trends in search results, when we examine search results for the above keywords, we notice that transactional volume, the bulk of the transactional volume is directed towards collection pages. And then blog traffic, not just any blogs are performing well, but rather blog tutorials, blogs that are designed to educate and sell by positioning your product as the best solution in the market. Now, understanding Google priorities based on the SERPs is essential to adapting your SEO strategy. If we understand what we're dealing with on the search, we will be able to put a holistic, comprehensive, and complete strategy. And that's where I want to introduce the 98 Studios SEO growth model. This model is a 30,000 foot overview on what's happening in our agency from the day one of starting with a client to gathering the results and presenting him proof that our concepts are working. And then from there, increasing the budget and actually working more on SEO and growing our budgets. So I will keep this short and simple for you guys to understand it, because I want to make sure that this is digestible. I don't want to get you into too much technical terms or any of that stuff. So the entire growth model is a 4-phase model or a 4-phase sprint. Now, the first sprint always tries to tackle strategy and technical SEO. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that technical SEO does not have the impact on rankings that you guys think it has. Now, technical SEO is pretty much like working on a clean slate, on a like not really having things that are bogging down your site, but it's not really a lever where you can pull to make more revenue. So what we do is we try to prioritize technical in the first 5 to 7 days. It doesn't take long because Shopify has its own issues out of the box, and they are pretty much standard across all Shopify stores. So we know them, it's a checklist, we get them done in the first 5 to 7 days, and then we move into the SEO roadmap, and that's the site roadmap. So pretty much what that is, it's a document that outlines all of the pages that either needs to be created or to be refreshed. If it exists on the site, it might need to be refreshed. If it doesn't exist, we create it. And that's going to be prioritized, sort out opportunities by priority. It's going to be prioritized pretty much based on the competition levels on the SERPs for the keyword that we want to go after, and then the traffic potential. So how much traffic are we expecting from that keyword if we rank on the first page versus how hard it is to get there. And then from there, we weigh our factors, and then we come up with a priority index, and more on that in phase 1 of our SEO roadmap. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We get the technical done in the first phase, then we go into the SEO roadmap, and then the SEO roadmap is going to dictate our SEO strategy for the next 6 to 9 months. And then from there, we enter the pipeline. The pipeline is the production of each page. What happens is we use something called rapid shopping page optimization, where in this phase, we're focusing on the bottom of funnel pages, your shopping pages, either product or collections, because that's where conversions happen usually. Now, we want to update the collection template. Usually we start with that. So all of the pages that are on the roadmap that are collections, we try to tackle these first because these have the highest potential to drive transactional traffic. Now, what we do usually is that most of the stores come to us without a really SEO-friendly template or SEO-friendly collection page. And what we want to do is optimize it by adding an FAQ section, a short description on the page, and a few other things. Of course, more on the page production phase down there. And yeah, after that, we try to figure out what kind of collection pages need to go into navbar and what kind of collections need to exist as a backdoor page to the site. And then from there, we go into our low-hanging fruits, pretty much optimizing these pages, like the product and collection pages from a CRO first perspective. So we kind of create a baseline for our product page and then the collection pages. Now, in phase 3, we want to do middle of funnel content, and that's where we focus on building blogs. Now, we don't focus on building very broad blogs like what is a car. We don't do that. We kind of focus on the blogs that carry transactional value, so we can focus on positioning your product as a solution for that reader. So pretty much that type of pages, the blogs, are targeting people that they are a bit early in their buying journey, and we're pretty much like educating them on what item is best for the situation. So after that, we link internal link collections and blogs. So we use the blogs to power up the collections, and in the best case scenario, we use use case specific blogs to power up the same use case type of collection. And then we link from blog to blog. That's like SEO internal linking 101. After that, continuous content updates, and then iterate based on data. So after 3 months of having these blogs or these collections live, we want to gather them into a page leaderboard. So all of the pages that we have worked on, we want to measure or benchmark the performance before we worked on them and then after we worked on them. And then based on that, figure out what are the next step. Either we update the content or we build backlinks to them. Now, phase 4 is pretty much like what I'm talking about. Create page leaderboard, sort out by best performing pages, create backlink roadmap, and then acquire backlinks. Okay, I'll go over each one of these phases in depth in this document. So let me go over these few points I also want to make here. So the 3 key site buckets. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand on Shopify, you will pretty much have your product pages, your collection pages, and then your blog pages. Now, in e-commerce, we want to focus mostly in this order of priority. We want to focus on collection pages. First priority as they capture the most transactional volume, because That's where pretty much like Google pretty much favors collections over products or over blogs for transactional keywords. Now, blog pages, second priority, used as a support mechanism for shopping pages. So sometimes the blog will rank and generate revenue. Sometimes it's not, but it doesn't mean that it's useless. The blog is usually acting as a supporting page for the conversion page. Let's say you're talking about, you have a collection page about fancy dresses, and then you have a blog that talks about top 10 fancy dresses for a night out. That blog might not generate any traffic, but it's still supporting topically the collection page, so it ranks through internal links. So that's the second priority. And then the third priority is product pages. And why I put it in the third priority is because most of the time, the product pages don't have much volume attached to them as a single product. Now, when you have a big catalog, your product pages or the keywords that you want to show up for will accumulate, and then it's going to make sense for you to go after them at some point. But I always approach it from a CRO first perspective, not from an SEO first perspective, because that's where the conversions happen on your site. That's their end destination. That's where they're going to be adding things to cart and then checking out. So the bulk of the attention when it comes to e-commerce is on the collection pages. Navigation is extremely important for the user experience. And that's where you have to make a decision either when you're creating collections or optimizing collections. You want to make sure that, does this make sense to be added to the nav bar or not? I have an SEOP to answer this question. I'm going to get to it later on. But the point of this section is to understand the priority of the pages when you want to tackle SEO, collections, blogs, and then products. Now, the biggest question that I keep getting is, how long is it going to take to see results? Like, once you answer that, you're going to get the fast track answer to everything that you ever had an issue with SEO. So if you understand authority and if you understand execution in SEO, you'll have a clear picture like why it's taking time and what's the single most valuable lever to pull in these scenarios. To understand why SEO takes time, we need to break down how ranking works and the process behind an SEO campaign. SEO authority equals 80% of the game. Without authority, SEO becomes an uphill battle. How authority works? You outsource authority from backlinks to your blogs, then from your blogs to your collections, and then from collections to your product pages. This is the natural flow of authority across your website. However, when executing an SEO campaign, the process is the opposite. We start building the products, then the collections, then the collection pages to the blogs, then from the blogs to the backlinks. So the difference here is that the campaign flow is essentially backward from how authority flows. Here's why this matters. So pretty much what happens is that for you to build authority into your site so you can rank, you pretty much have to outsource it from other websites into your blogs, from your blogs into your shopping pages. But the execution happens in reverse. So you start with your shopping pages, then you build your blogs, then you build your backlinks. And this is why actually. So without product pages, you can build collections. Without collections, there's no place to link to from blogs because collections are the most important pages as we discussed. And without blogs, you're not maximizing the value of your backlinks because you can diffuse the authority from a backlink through a blog to multiple shopping pages. So to rank effectively, you need to build the right infrastructure for authority to flow scalably across your site. This process takes time. It's about creating the foundation that will support your SEO efforts. The faster you build, the faster you rank. The key to quicker rankings is executing your SEO roadmap efficiently. Building collections, blog pages, and backlinks quickly accelerate the process. So what happens is, from a bird's eye view, we're building the roadmap, we're rapid executing the pages, and then after that, we're building backlinks based on the data from these pages. Now, of course, there's a lot of nuances to this, but I want you guys to understand that why it's taking time. It's taking time because we're building an infrastructure that will allow scale and that will allow maximum resource allocation to the things we're trying to do. However, many SEO agencies get bogged down in technical SEO, which often doesn't move the needle, and focus on low leverage activities early on. Instead, the focus should be on rapid execution to set up the essential infrastructure. From there, we will get to a point where there's no collection pages to create because we have niched them all down, and the only two levers to focus on are building more blogs that carry transactional intent and building more backlinks to lagging pages. So the key takeaway from all of this is the time to market. The faster you can implement SEO elements like new shopping pages, supporting content, and then backlinks, the faster your results will come. Now, it's going to come down to how efficient your agency is when it's carrying out an SEO campaign. Okay, so this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys understood everything that I'm trying to convey here. The next video is going to go over our actual SEO process and how do you build the SEO roadmap that we talked about in the phase 1, and then how do you do the keyword research, all of that stuff. How do you build your collection pages? How do you build your blogs? And all of that stuff. I guess this is it for now. Of course, everything that I'm mentioning here, I'll link this document in the description and you guys can see the proof and the field data that pretty much supports everything that we're doing. And then from there, I will keep going for the next video. And then if you have anything else, just book a call and then we can discuss collaborations. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.